is going to be a video on how to do the industrialization or progressivism DBQ. All right, so first thing we're going to open up is the actual DBQ, and you should be able to find that in the schoolwork week. So we're going to go to the schoolwork week, and then we're going to scroll down to Friday. And when you get to Friday, when you go to homework, you're going to see the extra credit DBQ product, DBQ right here. So you're going to click on that. And remember, you are not allowed to do the DBQ unless you do the My Progress Report. So if you're going to do the My Progress Report, follow along here. There's a video right here that shows you how to do the My Progress Report. Now, to make things clear before I click on the DBQ, this DBQ will only be allowed to be completed during Thanksgiving break, and there will not be another extra credit opportunity after this semester, basically meaning this is it. So if you're going to fix your grade, this is your opportunity. So we're going to go ahead and open it, and when you open it, it's going to take you to the document. And the document is going to tell you, again, remember that you cannot do the extra credit without the My Progress Report. Here is the DBQ itself, so you click on it, you're going to open it. Here is the answer sheet and essay location. So you're going to open that as well, and it tells you make a copy of it. First name, last name, period, extra credit, DBQ, answer sheet / essay. Make sure it's anyone with a link, and it is due submitted through Schoology Resources by Sunday the 29th at 10 p.m. That's the Sunday before we come back from Thanksgiving break. Here is the breakdown of the essay and thesis. So we're going to click on that, and it's going to open up to another document. And here will be the video explanation that I'm making right now. So let's first look at the DBQ. So the DBQ always asks you a question. Where will you put your $1 million? Now, this is the era of the progressivists, and we covered those during the industrialization unit. And as we talked about during the industrialization unit, the industrialization sucked. It sucked for poor people, for workers. It sucked when they went to work, when they had to work extreme long hours, where they had to have dangerous working conditions, where people died all the time. It was too hot. It was too cold. There were so many different problems with going to work. You could get fired any moment if you spoke up. If you wanted to get a raise or something, they'd fire you so quickly. And the pay was horrible, 10 cents an hour, which would be about making $3 an hour today. So it was really difficult, and it sucked at work. And then they went home, and the city, because of urbanization being thrown together so quickly, it also sucked. We talked about the urban problems that they had from housing. The tenements were too crowded. Transportation, the city was too crowded. It was hard to get to one side or another. Water problems where the water looked like it was chocolate milk, and water should not look like chocolate milk. Sanitation, dirty cities everywhere, rodents and cockroaches and disease. Fire problems that they had because a lot of the buildings were made out of wood. The interior of it was steel, but the exterior was wood, and they were right next to each other, so close. The buildings were so close that a fire in one building could quickly spread to another one. And then, of course, crime. Lots and lots of problems with people bumping each other and just stealing whatever they could because they were desperate too. So both at home and at work, it was difficult for these workers. So we talked about how the progressives, who were both Republicans and Democrats, finally got together and started to make some changes. And this is what this basically DBQ is going to be about. Now, the question is, where will you put your $1 million? That has to do with the background essay. Now, the background essay is going to talk to you about the era of the progressives. Is going to talk to you about 3 presidents who were the progressives, which is Teddy Roosevelt right here at the top, William Taft here in the middle, and Woodrow Wilson here at the bottom. They were presidents basically from 1901 to 1920. And that's kind of the years of the progressives. It's going to talk to you a little bit about the problems of the progressives and why they had to start making changes for people. But when it comes to the $1 million, the last paragraph in the background essay kind of goes over for you. It says, here's your task. So your Aunt Bessie has passed away. And when she passed away, she left you $1 million. Now, her whole entire life savings. But her wish and command is basically that you have to spend the $1 million on progressive reforms. And we talked about reforms are changes. So basically, you got to support changes that are progressive, things that will make better for society, especially poor people. So you have to choose from the 4 different causes that this DBQ discusses, and you can look on top, on the very bottom of the cover page, right here where the documents say. Document A is for state deforestation, when they severely were cutting down trees and not planting them again. So the forests that used to be really, really thick and full of trees, all of a sudden they started disappearing. Child labor, children being sent to work in dangerous working conditions because simply the parents needed them to eat. And we've talked a little bit about in the unit how 8 years old, 9 years old, going to a factory that's dangerous. Women's suffrage is an idea that we did not discuss, and we will discuss in the next unit, which is the idea of women's right to vote, that women should have the right to vote. The right to vote means you have political power. Political power means that people that Congress pays attention to you, politicians pay attention to you. When you vote, you make a decision, and the more decisions you make, the more you matter. And what I mean by that is, like, I'll give you an example, young people. For the most part, young people do not vote, and therefore Congress doesn't pay a lot of attention to you. They don't spend a lot of money on you because what's their punishment if you don't vote? So the more a group votes, the more power they have. They have political power. Well, women didn't vote at all. So how much political power did they have? How much did Congress really pay attention to their ideas and their concerns? So there was a big push under women's suffrage to give women the right to vote. And it started like 70 years before what we're talking about now. Now, food safety is document D. So we talked about Upton Sinclair's book, The Jungle, and how when he wrote the book and he wrote about the meat industry, how nasty it was, and how rats and rat poison falling into the meat and being blended together, and that it was just for poor people. Who cares? So these are the four progressive ideas: deforestation, save our forest; child labor, end children working; women's suffrage, give women the right to vote; and food safety, clean up the food and then the drugs and every other food that we have. So where are you going to spend your $1 million? Like they ask you. Now it says to divide up the $1 million this way: 600,000 to the thing that's most important to you, 300,000 to the one that's second most important to you, and 100,000 to the one that's after that. Now, if you add up 600,000, 300,000, and 100,000, it equals a million. But the problem is you only giving it to three, and there's four causes. So that means one cause you're not going to give any money to. You're going to have to make the decision of which one you don't give any money to. So as you go through the documents, and here's document A, you are going to T4 both the writing and the maps on deforestation. Then you're gonna answer the questions. You're gonna go to B, which is child labor, and you're gonna T4 the information written here, and then the picture as best as you can. Then you're gonna go document C, which is on women's right to vote, and you're going to T4 this and the picture. Then you're gonna go to document D, and you're gonna T4 about food safety and the picture. Now, where will you do that talking to the text and questions? You're going to do that on the Google Doc answer sheet / essay. So as you go here, is that you will be adding your T4 comments and answering the questions for the background essay, document A, B, C, and D. All T4 comments and questions have to be answered, or I will not grade it. So if I see blanks, I'm just going to grade it. This is for extra credit. You got to put the full effort in. So for the background essay, which is right here, for the background essay, you need 8 T4 comments and then answer the 6 questions. As you see on the next page, there are 6 pages here. Then you're going to go to document A, and there are five T4 comments and 5 questions. Document B, 5 and 4. Document C, 5 and 4. Document D, 5 and 3. And if we look at the documents, you should be able to see that in document A, there are 5 questions, and you're going to put 5 T4 comments. Then you're going to go to document B, put 5 T4 comments and 4 questions. Document C, 5 T4 comments, 4 questions. Document D, 5 T4 comments and 3 questions. And you're going to put them all in this document. Then you're going to write your essay right here at the bottom. Now your essay is instructions are, when I spell that one out, put that in there. All right, your answer instructions are: must have a creative title, 2 to 3 pages types, obviously, Times New Roman, size 12 font, double space, and it is due again through Schoology Resources by 10 p.m. on Sunday. All of this is due through Schoology Resources. So all the T4 and all the questions and your essay. Now the breakdown of the essay is right here. Remember, you click on it here, and it says right here, essay breakdown. It basically tells you what the essay to write about. So you have the 4 documents right there again, the ones I just went over. And in the introduction, just like the last DBQ we did, it's going to be an 8 to 10 sentence introduction. 4 to 5 sentences or so to the hook, a short story. You're going to write a story that catches my attention. So think about all the horrible things we talked about workers going through, both at home and at work. Come up with some sort of scenario that makes me think of how messed up it was that these and how the lives that these people lived through, how they suffered. Write a story about losing a child in a factory explosion, or a mother or a wife saying goodbye to her husband for the last time and he never comes back because a machine fell on top of him or exploded in his face. Write some sort of story, or write a story about you having to drink dirty water and how you got sick. There are so many different things that you could do in this short story, 4 to 5 sentences. Then the background, you got to talk about the industrialization era. Here is where you start bringing up the idea of how they suffered both at home and at work. Give some examples of that. And here is where you introduce the progressives, saying basically that they needed somebody to stand up for them and that the progressives are going to be that group. Again, progressives are both Republicans and Democrats. So you tell me a story that makes me think about how horrible things were in industrialization. You tell me what was going on, and then you tell me about the progressives, and then you say, as a progressive, I have decided to give away my $1 million by giving $600,000 to, and then you have to decide, all right, which one of those four goes to 600,000, which are you going to give 300,000 here, and which are you going to give 100,000? And again, one of these is not going to get any. So you have to make a decision, but you're going to have to later on, you're going to have to tell me why you chose not to give any money to that one. So that's your introduction. Again, a story, quick 4 to 5 sentences where you make me think about all the problems that potentially exact. It should be in first person. So you should be saying I and they and my son and so on. In the background, you tell me what's going on in the industrialization era, how messed up it is, and how the progressives came in to help, and then you give your thesis. The body is 3 body paragraphs. First body paragraph should deal with the very first thing you gave $600,000 to. And it must start with a topic sentence. Again, a topic sentence is a sentence that tells the reader both what the paragraph's about and connects it back to the thesis. So, an example, and I'm not telling you to choose $600,000 for this one, but let's say that you chose food safety. An example of a topic sentence would be um, the progressives, as a progressive, I decided to give $600,000 to the cause of food safety because it's so important to me. So you're telling me food safety is what we're going to read about in this paragraph, and that you're giving it $600,000 to, which again is part of your thesis. And then you do the same thing for whatever which one you give 300,000. You see the dollar sign is 300,000, um, and 100,000 here. So this one should be 6 to 8 sentences each one. This should talk about the $600,000 one you chose, the $300,000 one you chose, and the $100,000 you chose. Then your conclusion, you restate your thesis. So basically, you take your thesis and you say it again, the way you wrote up here, but in other words. Then I want you to tell me, okay, so which progressive idea did you not give any money to and why? So I decided not to give money to this one, and then you got to explain to me why you didn't give it to him. And then, of course, the last sentence should be a strong closing sentence that wraps up the entire essay you're writing about and connects to today. All right, so ultimately you're going to have 5 paragraphs. The first paragraph is your intro, paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 are body, and paragraphs 5 is your conclusion. It should be, again, if you look at the instructions, your instructions right here at the bottom, it tells you you need to have a creative title, 2 to 3 pages type, Times New Roman, 12 size font, double space, and it is due to Schoology Resources by 10 p.m., meaning all of this. So when you send it in, you'll have all the T4, all the questions, all done, and then your 2 to 3 page essay written right here. So start writing right there. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck.